Hi guys, Shoujo Thoughts here, and I'm going to go ahead and record this blog post as a podcast because I can't really type right now because my wrists and arms are doing things. But moving on from that, today we are going to talk about a show that I've really grown to like. I watched it, as I do most things, just on a whim. I was like, oh look, it's based on an otome. I ended up actually seeing it when I was browsing YouTube. Okay, so story time before I get into any of that. I really like AMVs, right? And I was watching AMVs on YouTube, but instead of looking for AMVs for specific shows, I thought it would be fun to type in specific songs and then see if they had anime AMVs to go along with those songs to kind of like see if there was a show I knew or something fit really well. And so I was looking for Backstreet Boys anime AMVs, and I found one. Backstreet Boys has this really awesome new song called Baby Don't Go Breaking My Heart, which you should all go listen to, and I found an AMV to that song, and it happened to be for this show called, and I'm gonna butcher this, but I'm gonna try, Nil Admirari no Tenbin, which I guess in English is the scales of Nil Admirari. I can't pronounce anything apparently, but that's what the show is called. So, I saw the AMV and I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's based on otome. I have to watch it. So I went ahead and did that. You can watch it on Crunchyroll. It's all subtitled. And first episode I get into, and it's not even 3 minutes in, and a character is trying to like strangle himself with some sort of string. And I'm like, I did not expect this to get so dark so quickly, but it did. And also, hey, there's a kid that's on fire. So, the basic plot of this story is that there is a young woman whose name is, I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly. What was her name? It's like I'm sorry, you'll have to forgive me. I thought I could. Tsugumi? They call her Kuze because that's her last name, but it's Tsugumi Kuze. Anyway, she is a young noble lady, and her family has fallen on hard times, and her mother lives at the said mother's relative's house because she's always been sickly, and so it's only been her and her brother and her dad, and since her dad's fallen on hard times and she wants to try to protect her family, she has agreed to an arranged marriage with somebody that she's never met. And her little brother, who she's really more of like a mother to in some respects, finds out about it. He does not take the news well. And next thing you know, all of a sudden, he's committing suicide by setting himself on fire. Well, the truth of the matter is that he was not suicidal himself, but rather that he had been possessed by what we come to find out are called cursed tomes, wherein the emotion of the writer is poured powerfully into a book and then can cause the same types of emotions or compulsions in the people who then proceed to read them. Most cursed tomes are made on accident, and they come from various different sources. But then after this happens to her brother, Kuze ends up through a series of events with the ability to see the aura of cursed tomes, which normal people can't see. Normal people just see a normal Japanese style book. They don't see the aura. And so she uses this ability to help an organization whose job it is to address the problem of cursed tomes, to find the books, take them, and then copy their contents into a form where it can be read without causing harm to people. And then it ends up getting really political, the show, like into some more power play of politics. Not that they necessarily describe the politics so much, but I can sense where in the otome game this would have been a big overarching theme. And I guess that's really what I would like to say about the show in general, is that there is clearly a lot in the game to unpack that's only hinted at in the anime. In that way, it reminded me of Amnesia Memories, because Amnesia Memories as an anime, I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't necessarily enjoy it, but I enjoyed it, and then I played the game afterwards and I was like, oh my goodness, I still enjoy the anime, but this game has so many more levels that were indeed hinted about in the anime, but not necessarily all laid out. And I think that the anime for the scales of Nil Admirari, whatever it's called that I can't pronounce, does something very similar, and I think it does it well. That's not to say that if you don't like reverse harem otome-based anime, and we know that that is like a just subgenre, it is a type. If you don't like that, you are not going to like this. But if you do like that, then I think you will like this. So the plot was interesting enough, and like I said, it hinted at some larger themes that I think are present in the game. The characters were fun and well done, fairly well developed, and there were types, of course. You had, the princely type. You had the I'm gonna pronounce, what's it called? You had the princely type. You had the stuck-up one. You had, the kudere. But they were done in a way that the trope wasn't all that they were, so I appreciated that. And I actually found a new husbando from this show. His name is Akira, and he is just fabulous. He is, the kudere of the group, and it seems like I'm drawn to those characters. But I remember seeing him introduce like his character design and going, he's going to be one of the best characters. I thought that in my head, and then it turned out to be true, and I was like, see, I knew it just from looking at his character design that he was going to be an interesting character, and he was, and I was really happy about that. But anyway, I didn't hear about this anime when it was released. I haven't really heard a lot of people talking about it, which is a little bit surprising to me, considering that people who watch shoujo and josei, we don't really get a whole lot of titles necessarily in a season. And so to have a reverse harem come out and not be picked up on the radar of people in that kind of anime sub-community was really surprising to me. It aired in April of 2018 and it ran through June. It's just a 12-episode anime, but again, I was really surprised that I didn't hear more about it at the time. The art for the series, and by extension the game, because they did a good job of translating the game art into anime art, which I always appreciate, but the character design and the stylistics of it have an almost Collar Malice type vibe, which is also really great if you liked the game Collar Malice, and I think a lot of that has to do with like kind of the almost police force aesthetic of the design, so I appreciated that. Yeah. So I'm sure I can criticize the title, and I think that I don't know if I would say this is a criticism necessarily, but it was something that I think I would have enjoyed seeing explored more, was the main character, Kuze, her relationship with this fiancé that she is supposed to marry. I'm not going to say too much because spoilers would be abundant, but I think that this could have easily been a 24-episode anime where they explored the relationships between the characters more and really explored those themes of the game. And that is a criticism I have, I suppose, of otome-based anime in general. Even though I really enjoy them for the most part, sometimes they're just lacking in the expression of elements that are present in the game. So an example of that, a good example of that would be Code Realize. The anime in comparison with Code Realize Guardians of Rebirth, the game is fantastic. I played the game before I watched the anime, and it is one of my favorite otome games. It's one of my favorite games, period. I really enjoy it. But the anime was entirely lacking in the deep, deep contemplations that were present in the game. The game had a lot of examinations about the meaning of science and religion and man and God, and it really got to be a fairly deep examination of those subjects. And the anime, that was missed completely. The characters were very surface level in the anime. It was just lacking. It was actually, I really don't like the anime for Code Realize. It's not even just like it was okay. I really don't like it. But that's a very good example of what some otome-based anime tend to do. They water down the stories, and they just give you little like sprinklings of story, and that's fine. That makes sense to me, to give you little sprinklings of story. But I would like to see someday a really complete adaptation of an otome game. Hakuoki, I know I talk about it all the time, but it did a really good job. Its anime of adapting the storyline. Of course, it follows. Okay, so when you play an otome game, there's always the true route. Even if they don't like market it as the true route, there's always a true route. In Collar Malice, I'm going to say his name wrong. Yagini. I like him a lot. I just can't pronounce anybody's names, guys. But, it's him. And then in Hakuoki, it's Hichikata. They market him that way. And sometimes they arrange the game so that you can't play the true route until you've played all the other routes to get a bigger picture of what's going on. And then the true route, contains like the ultimate, I don't want to say spoilers, but the ultimate answers, like it did in Collar Malice. But even in Hakuoki, they followed the true route. They did like little side jumps into the other routes, but the true route was the main point of the anime. And I can see why that's necessary, because you can't, I guess you could make like a 50 episode anime about it and cover everything, but it's difficult. And a lot of times I don't think they're really willing to do that. They would like a more coherent narrative. I get that. But I would just really like to see an anime besides Hakuoki really cover its game and the themes present in the game in anime form. So I guess that would be a criticism that I had. And then additionally, because otomes tend to have a fairly bland main character, so you can self-insert. This main character wasn't really as bland as some other ones. Kuze did have a personality, and I like that, because I don't like to self-insert. I'm here to ship other people, not to put myself into the situations. But she was not... Okay, so when you're reading a fan fiction and somebody's called like a Mary Sue character, she is a little bit of a Mary Sue. But again, like, most of the time they are, and I don't really have a problem with it. Like, I really don't have a problem with her character. I like her character. Yeah. I feel like in the anime, she didn't have as much opportunity to explore herself and contemplate things as the player would when playing the actual game. And that seems to be a common thing among otome-based anime. Because you are watching and you're not playing and you're not engaging, and that character is meant to be your method of engaging rather than just somebody that you watch on the screen. So it's a difficult translation to really achieve properly. And I don't think they did a terrible job of it, but it is worth noting. So yeah, I think that if you like reverse harem, if you like otome-based anime, you should check it out. The game is not something that anybody who doesn't speak Japanese can play because it has not been localized. I hope that it gets localized someday, but with all of this stuff going on and the Vita support, the Vita games, the physical games being discontinued this year, and the potential Otome switch to the Switch, that was unfortunate wording, the potential that Otome's platform will move to the Switch rather than staying with PlayStation. I'm not so sure how likely it is. A lot of the localizations that I've heard about coming out of the Switch are not very good. So we'll see. But if they localized this for the PC, if they localized this for the Vita, I would buy it. And yeah. So if you have seen it, let me know what you think. If you haven't seen it, do you think it's something that you're interested in? Let me know. And I hope that you all have a really nice day. Bye.